bacteria, the microbial agent generally in seminal fluid affect conception in natural scenario. We will not say in entirety that it doesn't have the treatment of IVF. However, like I said in some of our past episodes, the man had undergone screening. And if there's bacterial cell in the clinical threshold in his seminal fluid, automatically the lab man reports it, the doctor sees it, the gynecologist is concerned, and they offer treatment for this man before IVF treatment is done. However, still, the way and manner in which IVF treatment is done, the way the sperm, the seminal fluid is being separated to remove the sperm cells, it precludes the infiltration of bacterial cells, except there's any error anywhere. No matter the bacterial infestation in a man that has good sperm count, that the DNA is good, the embryologist in the IVF unit, they have what it takes to remove the bacterial cell. The reproductive material is used in turning the egg of the woman to become embryos. The seminal fluid in human, like you said, you call seminal fluid because you are knowledgeable. Seminal fluid contains sperm and so many other secretions from different glands, but the common man will call it sperm. Each of these secretions play their own role, positively or negatively, to the sperm, depending on what is happening along the duct, the spermatic duct, and the glands where these secretions are coming from. When you talk about microchimerism will not come without telegony. Telegony came more than 500 years before we now heard of microchimerism. What do we call telegony? Telegony means that I have been dealing with you, I've been relating with you, we are having some things internal, but we are no longer together, but a little bit of me still goes around with you. So they brought this to reproductive animals, as we demonstrated and spoke about the insects. Now further researches have shown that this happens in mammals, where human beings belong, where a male that had sex with a female partner in time past, some non-genetic material of that particular male are still in that woman, and that can be presented in another generation of children. As far as IVF treatment is concerned, if you look at it, it is capital intensive. It is well beyond the regular fee of malaria typhoid treatment. So it is not a news that semen of men harbors bacteria or microbial agent. And we equally know before today the extent of damages that these bacterial cells, the fungal cells, are capable of doing. So you won't know the harmful effect they have to offer and still go ahead and use them that way. The man is already a week before treatment on the drug that covers him from this bacteria. On top of that, on the day of IVF treatment, when the wife is taken to theater and the egg is harvested, or when the egg donor is taken to theater and the egg is harvested, the man's semen is treated in a way scientifically that remove the bacterial cells, that remove these fungal cells. If at all they have not been finally killed before that day, such that the sperm you are taking out from that seminal fluid by way of the purification system is called the pure. And when science say pure, it is pure. This is more of an admonition rather than condemnation as far as our women, young females, young adults, young ladies is concerned. If you go back, one of the greatest philosophers of all time is Aristotle. He had postulated this years ago and had evidence that in insects that were defined by a particular type of male that were later impregnated, fertilized by another male, the children, the offspring of this insect, had traits with regards to physical appearance and size that is traceable to the first particular type of male that mated with the female. There is evidence that female mammals, what do we call mammals? Animals that have what? Here on their screen. They have the mammary gland, they can breastfeed, and they can give birth to baby. This category is where human being belongs to. They are vertebrate. They find out that female rats that were defined, they are mated with a particular type of male rat, but they didn't get pregnant then. Young female rats had sex with a particular type of male rat. By the time this female rat got pregnant from another young adult female rat who had mated with a particular type of male rat, but they didn't get pregnant from that sexual encounter. By the time they got pregnant by another male rat, the offspring, the babies of this rat, these newly given birth, this newborn rat, the babies were of the size of the first one who mated with the mother in the beginning.
Hi there. You are welcome to another episode of Omega Fertility Podcast with Dr. Abraham Fasasi, where we bring you up to speed on fertility issues and other health-related things. Today, we shall be discussing about how your sexual past can affect your baby. I'm your host, Dayo Fowe. Do follow us on all our social media handles and visit us on our website, omegagoldenfertility.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share. Doctor, you are welcome to another fertility podcast. It's nice seeing you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, and you?
You are looking good as usual.
It's a grace of God there.
Yes, this topic, we discovered that the ancient Greeks, they said something about this topic. They have this knowledge. But the modern genetics, they dismissed this topic. They said it's not possible. But the recent research is taking us back to this ancient Greek philosophy. Doctor, I want you in a nutshell to explain to us what does this mean. And in explaining, I want you also to take cognizance of the concept of non-genetic inheritance.
You see, the topic on board today, it's not a new development. But where the research findings are unfolding, where evidences are gathering up, it is possible the entire world have not agreed on the direction going forward. But when the pendulum swings in one direction, that this concept exists, the best you could do is to do what? Be on the guard. And this is more of an admonition rather than condemnation as far as our women, young females, young adults, young ladies is concerned. If you go back, one of the greatest philosophers of all time is Aristotle. He had postulated this years ago and had evidence that in insects that were defined by a particular type of male that were later impregnated, fertilized by another male. The children, the offspring of this insect, had traits with regards to physical appearance and size that is traceable to the first particular type of male that mated with the female. So if you bring it back in principle, as at that time, this record was not evidence in human being, but it was evident in insects. They are living organisms like human beings. In 14th century, when Edward was to marry Joan as an heir to the throne of Edward III in the ancient Greek, this issue came up again. Joan was not a single lady. Joan had been married before. She became a mother before meeting with Edward, who was a prince for the throne of Edward III. So the guy being an heir to the throne was to marry Joan, but every effort to make it work was abolished because Joan had been married to a man before and had children. So they were like, how are we sure that the various sperm then that we call semen, the secretion of this semen are not going to have anything to do with the children that Joan will be having for Edward? And as such, they didn't allow that marriage to fly. In modern history, researchers from the famous Oxford University have also established this decision, this finding. They did research in other animals as well. So we actually started with insects. Now, there is evidence that mamas, female mamas, what do we call mamas? Animals that have what? Here on their skin. They have the mammary gland. They can breastfeed. And they can give birth to baby. This category is where human being belongs to. They are vertebrate. They find out that female rats that were defined, they have mated with a particular type of male rat, but they didn't get pregnant then. Young female rats had sex with a particular type of male rat. By the time these female rats got pregnant from another young adult female rat who had mated with a particular type of male rat, but they didn't get pregnant from that sexual encounter. By the time they got pregnant by another male rat, the offspring, the babies of this rat, this newly given birth, this newborn rat, the babies were of the size of the first one who mated with the mother in the beginning. Even though their DNA were of this particular type of rat. Let's say we have rat A male, rat B, a male as well. And then we had a rat C, a female. Rat C, a female, had mated with a rat A, which is tall and big, right? Then at that time the rat C did not get pregnant. But rat B, that is a male, short tail, short ear, small body, impregnated rat C. By the time rat C give birth to babies, the baby were of the size replica to rat A. That means even though the DNA of the baby were that of rat B, but the physical appearance and size were that of rat A. This is evident from mamas who pierce backbone, they breastfeed, and they give birth from their uterus, just like human beings. It's coming. Why we have not gathered so much evidence in male individual, we agree that the children we have at home, oftentimes, even though the father is the biological father by DNA analysis, the baby has traits that resembles either one uncle or one auntie, even though they played no role in their conception. So that means the man who is coming, who is the genetic father by DNA, has some things other than the DNA in the semen that was deposited in the wife that had the baby. The man impregnated his wife. He gave birth to a baby boy whose DNA is this. But the baby behaves like the man's sister. The baby behaves or has traits. He walks, he talks like the man's elder brother or younger brother. So there are non-DNA genetic material that are transferred in the course of semen deposition into the woman that form the baby. Do you get it now? Yeah. So this is the reality in front of us in modern age. As far as Oxford University is concerned, Southway universities in Australia, there are evidence for all this already. So we at this time, as a people, as a female, need to be conscious. Because there are not overwhelming evidences in human experiment now, doesn't mean tomorrow there won't be. So you don't have a baby. He is biologically your husband by DNA. But the baby has traits, maybe by height, that resembles your past suitors.
Is that the explanation to this non-genetic inheritance?
Exactly. When you talk about non-genetic inheritance, there's something we call epigenetic mapping. Epigenetic mapping has to do with environment and what is in the environment that we are exposed to. Imagine one of the twins being raised in the village, the other boy being raised in Lekki. The two of them have the DNA of the same man, but they won't grow at the same pace. Their social relationship will not be the same. Do we now say that the woman actually messed up. No, the mother did not do anything wrong. It is the environmental influence that formed the difference between these two siblings. Right? Yeah.
So I love the way you have broken it down into rat A, B, and C.
Yes.
And my next question is this, Doc. With your experience in research work, because I know you have been involved in some international researches and even the ones locally.
Yeah.
This new concept, this new research that is coming from University of South Wales, is it credible?
When we talk about scientific findings and research, it will be it will be short of truth for us in this part of the world to really undermine the capability of the Western world. Let's be real. If the African community was better in terms of resources, fund availability for research, we won't leave Nigeria, we won't leave Africa to go to the Western world in UK, in Europe, America, Australia, Asia, to go and acquire skills, knowledge. As far as credibility is concerned, the South Wales universities in Australia, Oxford University, they are universities that ring bell. They have done a lot of good to us in Africa by accepting our students on merit for study and for research. And we have been able to make our own impact as a people in Africa, from Africa, in those universities. So if they have found things that we have not discovered in Africa yet, it doesn't make them less credible. Let's be real. In any way, it doesn't make them less credible. And they're not going to stop. While we can get funded here in Africa, in Nigeria, for research, and the next thing we are buying G-Wagon, we are building houses to enrich ourselves. We are not bad, but we can say the patriotism to research, the genuine effort to research, it was called a distinction in the Western world compared to Africa. When it comes to using the fund appreciably and genuinely for that cause. Yeah.
So, Doc, we should be concerned concerning this research work.
Yes.
Good. Now, this one brings me to the next question. Can the seminal fluid affect immature eggs in women?
The seminal fluid in human, like you said, you call seminal fluid because you are knowledgeable. Seminal fluid contains sperm and so many other secretions from different glands. But the common man will call it sperm. Each of these secretions play their own role, positively or negatively, to the sperm, depending on what is happening along the duct, the spermatic duct, and the gland where these secretions are coming from. However, these secretions is where we harbor bacteria. This secretion is where we harbor fungi. The sperm in itself, the sperm cell itself, cannot carry these things around. But the secretion where you have the sperm cells does a whole lot. And it is this secretion that push the sperm towards through the vaginal canal, cervical canal, through the uterus, and towards the fallopian tube and to the ovary, where the eggs are released. So if the seminal fluid is already infected, the chances of conception is slim. When a man has erratic sex, unprotected erratic sex, left and right, he can pick up infection left and right. The man had sexual intercourse with Diola, who has a boyfriend in Benga and Adamu. From Adamu to Chukwuemeka. And Chukwuemeka and Adamu also had different girlfriends. So the bacteria, the fungi from 3 different spots is coming back to this man who had sex with Diola. Diola had 3 other sex partners. You had sex with Diola unprotected. And then you are now passing, you have become infected. This semen is not deposited into your own wife, who is clean. Automatically, you have inoculated the woman with bacteria or fungi that you have contracted from Diola or Yemisi or Deborah, who also had previous sex partners or active sex partners, who equally have other sex partners. You can see how it opens up.
Yeah.
So everything comes back to you. So if you get infected and you are not expected to be using protection with your wife when you desire to have children, so you pour the seminal fluid that is inoculated, infested with bacteria and fungi, as the case may be, into your wife. Those bacterial cells, the fungal cells, now have a good abode to grow and multiply and do their biological function of causing infection in your wife. The infection can end up blocking your fallopian tube or blocking conception in itself. And the woman can become at large infected. The pelvis can become infected. And the woman will have what we call pelvic inflammatory diseases, which can end up stopping the woman to have ability of becoming a mother. And then we'll say there is what? Female factor infertility due to PID.
So in other words, this seminal fluid and the bacteria that comes with it affect the egg of the woman. What does it portend for IVF treatment and plan?
Okay. While the bacteria, the microbial agents generally in seminal fluid affect conception in natural scenario, we will not say in entirety that it doesn't affect the treatment of IVF. However, like I said in some of our past episodes, the man had undergone screening. And if there's bacterial cell in the clinical threshold in a seminal fluid, automatically the lab man reports it, the doctor sees it, the gynecologist is concerned, and they offer treatment for this man before IVF treatment is done. However, still, the way and manner in which IVF treatment is done, the way the sperm, the seminal fluid is being separated to remove the sperm cells, it precludes the infiltration of bacterial cells, except there's any error anywhere. No matter the bacterial infestation in a man that has good sperm count, that the DNA is good, the embryologist in the IVF unit, they have what it takes. They have the training, they have the skills, they have the wherewithal to remove the bacterial cell, such that only sperm cell, the reproductive material from the man, is used in turning the egg of the woman to become embryos. And the woman in return now get the embryos that are not infested with bacteria, because ab initio, from the beginning, the bacterial cells have been removed, separated during what we call the separation techniques. There's something we call the separation techniques, the density gradient centrifugation. That's what they use in IVF. That removed, it filters out every non-sperm constituent of the seminal fluid. And invariably, we have what we call pure sperm. When we have this pure sperm, it is no more than your fingernail, a little fraction of your fingernails. But that is more than enough to impregnate the whole of Lagos women, if the man has a good sperm count from the beginning. That's it.
So in IVF treatment, we have no cause to be alarmed or worried when it comes to these bacteria in the seminal fluid.
Not at all. As far as IVF treatment is concerned, if you look at it, it is capital intensive. It is well beyond the regular fee of malaria typhoid treatment. So it is not a news that semen of men harbors bacteria or microbial agent. And we equally know before today the extent of damages that these bacterial cells, the fungal cells, are capable of doing. So you won't know the harmful effect they have to offer and still go ahead and use them that way. The man is already a week before treatment on a drug that covers him from this bacteria. On top of that, on the day of IVF treatment, when the wife is taken to theater and the egg is harvested, or when the egg donor is taken to theater and the egg is harvested, the man's semen is treated in a way scientifically that remove the bacterial cells, that remove these fungal cells. If at all they have not been finally killed before that day, such that the sperm you are taking out from that seminal fluid by way of the purification system is called the pure. And when science say pure, it is pure.
You are still watching this episode concerning what doctor is talking about. But when doctor say pure, I repeat after him, pure. Do follow us on all our social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit us on our website, omegagoldenfertility.com. Our 24/7 lines are open unto you. Free. Call us. Someone is there to answer your call. Now, I want to ask this question. What is microchimerism? Secondly, I want to ask 3 questions in one, doctor.
Okay.
What is microchimerism? How does it occur? And is it common in women? Or how common is it in women?
Thank you for the question. I think you want to become a lecturer or you want to become a professor of fertility medicine or human medicine. This is how it goes. Like I said earlier on, the idea of cellular material of a genetically distinct person being found in another person is not a new phenomenon. It's something that goes back 14th century. Aristotle has spoken about all this before, and he has demonstrated it in insect. When you talk about microchimerism will not come without telegony. Telegony came more than 500 years before we now heard of microchimerism. What do we call telegony? Telegony means that I have been dealing with you. I've been relating with you. We are having some things internal. But we are no longer together. But a little bit of me, it goes around with you. So they brought this to reproductive animals, as we demonstrated and spoke about the insects. Now further researches have shown that this happens in mammals, where human being belongs, where a male that had sex with a female partner in time past, some non-genetic material of that particular male are still in that woman or that female animal that is a mama. And that can be presented in another generation of children that mama will produce, as seen in those rats. So when you talk about microchimerism is talking about relationship between mother and the baby she's carrying. The fetal cells of the baby that is within the uterus that has not been given birth to, they cross the barrier into the maternal blood circulation. And even though that baby is born, this fetal cell goes about in the mother's system till Jesus returns. And the woman continues. So now imagine, this woman has a lot going on in her blood system that were left there by the baby she has given birth to. Now, this woman is still of childbearing age, and the woman gets pregnant again. It's also possible you see siblings who are genetically distinct, have the same, some traits that are traceable to each other. It is a factor of the fact that they started from the same origin, but they were not coexisting at the same time in that woman. But the fetal cell of that baby the older one, was already in the mother's circulatory system, and it can be transferred at any point without the consent of the other brother. Meanwhile, it is the DNA of the same father that formed the new boy or the new female child, but the cell of the brother was inside the mother. That is microchimerism. Yeah.
I don't know how this question will stand.
Okay.
How does this DNA retain in the mother's body or brain?
There's something we call the telomere
Okay.
in every human being. Every cell of the body, every organ has its own cell, the sequence that produces it and rejuvenates it. So those things are coded in the telomere. And over time, husband and wife, years of marriage, countless numbers of sexual intercourse, the DNA of this man is endlessly deposited into this woman. Isn't it? Along the line, like I said, the part of the secretion of this woman, of the man, that goes into the woman, it revolves round inside this woman and they are taken up. Even though the woman is not getting pregnant at that time, there are non-genetic material of this man that defines him in traits and ability that are in those secretions. And that goes on for years. And you will see after some time, husband and wife, they begin to look alike. Have you seen that before? You see husband and wife, they are both from two different parents. They come together. And after certain years of togetherness, you see the man looking like the wife looking like the man. Even though they are both from, one person is from East, the other person is Yoruba. But they have been together in marriage. A lot of secretions, body fluid, have been exchanged along the line in their late 60s, 70s. You realize that the man speaks like the wife, or the wife especially speak like the man. And physically, people will say, they look like twins. Meanwhile, they are husband and wife from two different races, from two different backgrounds, with different genetic components. That's it.
So, in conclusion of this segment, so the DNA deposited with the woman can also be deposited in the man. That's what we are saying. That's how they look alike.
It is the wife,
Yes.
that oftentimes turns to look like the husband, because the DNA of the man is being deposited repeatedly, and the DNA of the woman begin to get rewritten along the line. And the body secretion of the man, the fluid the man deposits, which form part of the man's trait, begin to reflect in the man, in the woman. Do you get it now?
Okay.
If a man releases 2 mil or 3 mil of seminal fluid, the sperm cells in it is less than 10%, it's less than 5% of the entire volume. The all other secretions, where do they go? They stay in the woman. And they are having one information of the other of that man. And invariably, they begin to take over the woman's system. And after some years, you look at the woman, you guys look alike. Are you twins? Oh no. We are what? We are husband and wife. That's it.
Thank you, our listener. Dr. Abraham Fasasi has been able to enlighten us on this episode. But watch out for the next episode. Follow us on all our social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, omegagoldenfertility.com. Remember, our 24/7 helplines are available for you. Call, make up your observation known, and someone will be there to answer your call. Until next episode, I remain your host, Dayo Fowe.